National Senior Certificate Matric exam results will be released later tonight, and it's imperative that learners approach these results in a healthy, constructive manner. Also critical is how to curb the levels of anxiety and stress after the release of the academic results in cases where learners have not performed that well. For more on the story, we're joined in studio by counselling psychologist, that's Jeremy Bayer. Good afternoon, Jeremy. Happy New Year to you, and thank you for making time for us on the SABC News Desk.
Happy New Year to you too. Thanks for having me.
An understandably emotionally taxing time for matriculants, learners. How should they be taking it in and handling it all at this time of year?
Well, the first thing to say is when you get your results, to accept how you feel. So if you feel happy, that's great. If you're happy with the results, that's awesome. But if you're unhappy with the results, accept how you feel. So if you want to be emotional, that's absolutely fine. I wouldn't advise bottling it or keeping it in, because that can only make it worse, because then you're going to carry around a mood that's sad or pessimistic. Talk about it first, don't bottle it up. So naturally there's going to be nerves, because it means a lot to people and it means that they care. So there will be anxiety and nerves, 100%. But the key is when it happens to speak about it. Yeah.
How do some of these stresses manifest in daily life, or in the next few days in the case of our matriculants?
Well, they'll show itself in various forms. So there'll be a lot of sort of anxiety that you'll see, a lot of worry, a lot of sort of fear of the future, a lot of what ifs in people's mind. What if this doesn't happen, or what if that doesn't happen? Will I get into this college? Will I get into that college? So a lot of sort of thinking in the future. So what I advise in that case is to be as sort of present focused as possible. Whatever the result is, you plan then accordingly. Number one, in terms of the results, and number two, in terms of what you want to do. It's not about whether you go to varsity or this place or that place. It's about what you want to do, whether it's hotel, school, university, etc.
It's also taxing time for parents, caregivers, family members, and the support system around the matriculant. How should they be handling a stressed out or anxious teen at this stage?
Well, it's very important for any support system to realize that the person who's written the exams they're going to be nervous. You can't expect anything else. So the key is to just be supportive, to say to you, regardless of what happens, this doesn't define who you are as a human being. The big concern is that people who don't like their marks or unhappy think that they as a person are a failure. So my advice to parents is keep encouraging your child, keep loving them unconditionally, and keep saying we're here to support you regardless. That is a number one thing, because it can play a big role in the self-esteem. Yeah, and just be there, and also along with that to say, okay, regardless of what the marks are, to also say let's focus on where you want to go. So if you want to go again into hotel school, we'll focus on that direction, and instead of just thinking if you did well or not well. Focus on the specifics as well. But mostly for parents, unconditional love and support.
And you've actually in a kind of way preempted my next question, because we always see students wanting to enter academia and matriculants flocking toward the universities without really looking at other options, and sometimes unwittingly narrowing their options.
Yeah, well, the big message to send today is that varsity isn't the holy grail. It's not varsity or nothing. And the danger also is that some of these students then compare themselves to their friends, or they all got into university and I didn't. It doesn't work that way. It's about what you want to do. If you want to get into varsity, that's great. If that's your goal, that's fantastic. But I strongly recommend to avoid social comparison, because if you're going to socially compare, then it's out of your hands and you're not in control. The way to keep control is to set your own goals, to focus on what you want to do, and focus on what your passions are. And if your passions are going to hotel school, if your passions are learning to be a pilot, then you've got to go to those specific schools. It's all about, it's your life and what you want to do. That is the thing I'd strongly recommend, but to not think of this sort of keeping up with the Joneses mentality. My friend's doing a BCom accounting, therefore I need to do that as well. Your life. Yeah.
Thank you for your time, Jeremy Bayer. I'm afraid we are out of time. That was counselling psychologist Jeremy Bayer joining us on the SABC News Desk this afternoon.